have the video posted on the SOMSD YouTube page, hopefully by the end of the week. So you can always rewatch it there or let any friends know who may have missed it that it's there. So welcome everybody to our course selection information night, thinking about the year 22-23, very exciting. I'm Fallon Ballasone, I'm the Director of School Counseling, and with me is Principal Sanchez, if you'd like to say hello.
Hello, families. I hope there's some students on here as well. And we're looking forward to sharing all of the great courses that we have. First, let me just thank Miss Ballasone right now because it is National Counseling Week. And so our counselors do an incredible job, as does, of course, their leader, Miss Ballasone. This is her second year as our director. And we've done such great updates to the program of studies. One of the things that I know, this is my second year as principal, when I was interviewing for the job, and I always mention this, when I looked at the Columbia High School program of studies, I was shocked by the breadth of courses that are offered here. It is like a university. And so it's incredible. There are so many great courses. We have a great faculty that really are great mentors for our students. And so this is an exciting time of year, right? Because we are now getting ready for what's happening next year, whether your child is a sophomore, going to be a junior, or of course, going to be a senior. So hopefully by the end of this evening, we can help answer questions as well as prepare you for that course selection process. Ms. Ballasone?
Thank you so much for that. And thanks for supporting the Counseling Center, as always, and for being here tonight. Thank you. So speaking of the questions, we're going to be happy to take questions at the end for a live Q&A. I know that WebEx has two features, a chat feature and a Q&A feature. If you all don't mind using just the chat feature so we don't have to go back and forth between the two apps, that would be really helpful, and we'll be able to take those questions at the end. And also for those of you who may have an 8th grader in the district as well, this night will be helpful for that too, but we're having a special night just for the 8th grade families on Tuesday, February 22nd. So hopefully you'll also join us then for a similar type of virtual WebEx where it'll be more geared towards our rising 9th graders and just welcoming them to Columbia as a whole. All right, without further ado, we'll get started. So just so everybody understands the timeline here and when your students will be able to meet with their school counselor to discuss their course requests, here it is spelled out. For those of you with current 11th graders, you probably know that your students are meeting right now with their counselor for their junior meetings, which is mostly post-secondary planning, where we talk about the college process or career, military, gap year, whatever it is that your student is thinking that life after high school might look like. And part of that meeting is also dedicated to an initial discussion about course selection for their senior year. Once the week of February 28th rolls around, we will be seeing the juniors again just for quick catch-ups about course selection. So they'll be coming down with their chemistry class to the counseling center during the school day, and they'll be sent around to their counselors to have individual quick check-ins about their course requests again, even though they've already had this initial conversation as part of their junior meeting. The class of 2024, they're going to be coming down with their physics classes the second week in March. They'll come down to the counseling center with their teacher and their whole class. We'll give a short little presentation to all of them and then again send them around for those individual meetings with their counselor one-on-one to review their course requests if they've already entered them or to enter course requests if they haven't yet done it. The third week in March, you'll notice that we're off here at the high school because the high school counselors are going to be going down to both middle schools to be meeting one-on-one with the 8th graders there. Then we'll be back up at the high school the fourth week in March to meet with the class of 2025. So they'll be coming down with their biology classes that week to also be able to meet one-on-one with a counselor. So again, as we'll discuss tonight, you can put your course request in any time from now through April 1st. So if your student does decide to put in their course request before meeting with the counselor, that's totally fine. The counselor will sit down with them. They'll look at what they reviewed, at what they submitted. And if for any reason something needs to be changed, we can absolutely change it through April 1st. You can change it on your own. They can change it right there with the counselor. So that's the goal, is that you already will have spoken together about this as a family. You already would have gone on PowerSchool and entered those requests, and that this meeting with the counselor is a review of the submitted course requests. No worries if it's too much, if it's overwhelming, if you can't figure it out, no problem. The counselor will do it then with the student. But the goal is to already have them submitted so that it can be more of a review. So the number one place to find all of the information about course selection is on our website. Everything on the website under the course selection page was sent out to all families, so you may have already seen it, hopefully. If not, it's all right there on the Counseling Center website, including the letter that was sent home with all of the really specific instructions step by step, which we'll also go over tonight. And also lots of links for like helpful worksheets, our program of studies that Principal Sanchez was talking about, which has all of our course offerings, instructional notices about how to actually enter this in PowerSchool. So we have slides on there, we have videos, we have lots of stuff. So it's a wealth of information if you want to go refer back to anything after tonight on the website. So it's really important to start the conversation about course selection for the following year by just making some quick review about credits and how that works at Columbia High School. You'll hear a lot about this throughout the process, about how many credits you need to request, how many credits you would need to graduate, and things like that. So it's important to understand how credits apply to the courses that we offer. If you read through our program of studies, which details over all of our course offerings, you'll see that a lot of the classes are indicated as full year courses. Those are all worth 5 credits. So our core subjects like English, math, science, social studies, world language, and also a lot of our electives are offered as full year courses for 5 credits. You will notice that some of our electives are offered as semester long courses, which are 2.5 credits. So like this year, our first semester ran through February 4th, and then second semester ran through the end of the year from February 7th to the rest of the year. So it's just for half of the year, so it's worth 2.5 credits. And then there's one particular type of course that is quarter long and worth 1.25 credits, and that's your health or phys ed. So that's the only class that exists that's a quarter long and is worth 1.25 credits. It's important to know that most students take 35 credits per year, which means that with our current bell schedule, they're in class from period 1 to 8. Our 9th period right now is a conference period. So that means that 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, most of our teachers are available during that time to conference with students, provide extra help, and things like that. Some students may request 40 credits a year, which means that they have a periods 1 through 9 schedule. And unfortunately, that would keep them from being able to utilize that conference period with their teachers. But in exchange, they're getting that extra elective. Why would a student do this? Most students don't, but a student might, maybe because they're in a music ensemble that they're planning on being in for 4 years. And so they want that to be their elective each year, but they also want to experience some of the other electives that we offer. That's usually the most popular reason why a student might request the 1 through 9, but there's some other reasons too. But we always just want to remind families and students that if you are going to take 40 credits and have a 1 through 9 schedule, then you're missing out on that important conference time with the teacher. So just something to keep in mind as you kind of plan for the 4 years. So in order to move on and progress through the grades here at Columbia, you need to earn a certain number of credits each year. So here it is all spelled out. Ultimately, you need to earn 120 credits to graduate Columbia High School and just any school in the state of New Jersey. Most of our students will have way more than 120 credits by the time they graduate.
Ms. Ballison, can I just interrupt for 1 second? And that's about period 9, right? The conference period. I would love if more students took part in that. Sometimes we just have students who get dismissed and they go home, or they hang out and wait until like a sports event. I just want to make sure and to emphasize that students who do take that extra course and take PE, for example, we cannot allow a student to just say, oh, well, I didn't understand what was going on in pre-calc today, and so I want to go and meet my teacher. Like a student has to complete the work of that PE. So again, it's just a conscious choice, and our counselors are great at this and will speak with the child and parents to just say, if you are thinking about not taking the conference period, right, and taking a course, that does preclude you from meeting with that teacher during that time. Of course, you can meet the teacher before school or after school, but just to keep that in mind. I think that's really important.
It is. It is. And we're not trying to scare anybody, but we're
Right.
just we're just trying to really hit home here. And we've experienced this year a lot of students asking, "Oh, can you please like give me a pass to see a teacher for help this period, even though I have a class?" And we can't. I mean, there are rules about attendance and how many hours you must be in a class in order to earn credit. So that's what Principal Sanchez is saying, to just think really hard about that one and know that you're not going to ever be excused from that ninth period class to go get help from a teacher. So just keep that one in mind. So here's just our graduation requirements. You'll see this all over the place in the program of studies on our website, hoping that everyone starts to memorize these over the years, especially as you near senior year, and just understand that this is kind of what informs the advising that the counselors will give our students. It's all, initially based on the graduation requirements, making sure those are met. And then once we have that down pat as part of the 4-year plan, we move on to what a post-secondary institution's requirement may be. So most of our students do apply to 4-year college. So of course we talk about that a lot, and we consider what the requirements for that may be. So for example, even though we only require 1 year of a world language in order to graduate high school, we know that a lot of competitive 4-year colleges would require 2, if not 3, maybe even recommend more years of the same world language. So that's always where the counselor's coming from when they're advising students, is just trying to help them keep as many options open as possible for life after high school. You'll also hear us talking a lot about challenging yourself, increasing the rigor, all again to help you have as many options as possible after high school, and also for you to have the most fulfilling experience during high school, and just to like love coming to school every day and be really into your classes. Sometimes that comes with rigor and maintaining the rigor or increasing it. So a lot of students ask, well, how do I know if I'm ready? Should I be taking all honors? Should I just take one? How do I know when it's time to take the leap to AP? And these are just some of the little points that we like to discuss with students. Of course, especially with AP, the number one question is, well, are you even interested in this? You should never be doing something just because of college. It should be because you want to. That's how you're probably going to end up doing well, and that would look good to a college. So we always try to lay out all the options of the APs that we offer and maybe identify a handful of them that you're super interested in and incorporate those as part of the 4-year plan. I always like to say, you want to make sure you're doing well in the classes that you're in now, and then move on to increasing the rigor. So that's what we focus on, is study skills, good habits, advocating for yourself with the teacher, everything like that, and finding, yourself in a really good spot currently with your current classes. And then we start to build and add more honors and AP for the next year. So this is the kind of pointers that you want to talk to your students about, and encourage them to discuss with their counselor when they have their scheduling meeting, because this kind of reflection can help when trying to determine how many honors or AP you may want to take.
And I would just add, as a former AP teacher and regular ed teacher, but I taught AP government for several years, nothing got me more excited. I'm going to show you my age. That I'd come in on Monday morning and say, "Oh my gosh, did you see how Timmy Russer, you know, filleted somebody on Meet the Press yesterday?" And half of my students would be like, "Oh my gosh, it was awesome." And then half of my students would be like, "What's Meet the Press?" So why are you in AP government, right? Is it just to take the most rigorous course available for a college, or is it something that you're really interested in? And I think Ms. Ballastone and her counselors are aware, right, that admissions offices, they're looking for someone who is passionate about an interest, not just someone who is taking many of these things. So we do welcome and encourage students to try an AP course if they've never had one, right? But what we want to do is also have that fine balance of students who perhaps shouldn't be taking, or should consider if they're taking 6 APs, 5 APs, right? What does their day look like? So I think,
Yeah, that's a lot. We want them also to be able to do clubs or sports, hang out with friends, just be teenagers too. So 6 is a lot. Um, Another popular question we get about honors and AP is, well, is it better for me to get a C in an AP or a B in honors? That type of question. And we always point students back to this chart as part of that conversation. This is our GPA chart. It's how this works. It's not the whole answer to the question, but it's something to start talking about. As you can see, our students are assigned 2 GPAs, grade point averages. One is unweighted in that first column there, and the other is weighted in the later columns. You'll see the unweighted GPA is pretty simple. There's just a numerical value assigned to each letter grade, but that the weighted GPA becomes a little more complicated as the numerical value of each letter grade goes up as the level of rigor goes up in the class. So if a student says, oh, is a C in AP better than a B in honors? Well, if you're looking at the GPA, a B in honors is a 3.67 and it weighted, and a C in AP is a 3.0 weighted. So if we're just worrying about our GPA, right, then it's better to get the B in honors. But colleges are also looking for you to have challenged yourself with the AP. So it's a very complicated answer, which is why you will rarely get a straight answer from a counselor because there's so much to discuss here when that question comes up. And it's one of the most popular questions that we get. So one of the things you want to consider is this chart and how this is going to impact your GPA. And the other thing you want to consider is your transcript as a whole and make sure that you have challenged yourself. So if you've gotten pretty much A's in honors classes all along, the expectation is that you'll challenge yourself now with an AP course. Whether it ends up hurting your GPA or not, the expectation is that you took that challenge and the college is going to expect that. So it's just something to keep in mind that this is how GPA works. We get a lot of questions about it. Both GPAs are printed on the transcript. So I can't show it right now, but I think if you all go into PowerSchool and you go into scan documents for your child, or e-documents, I think it's called, there should be a copy of their transcript there. So you could always take a look and see what's on it. We only update it once a year, of course, when final grades are captured. So over the summer is when that gets updated. But for each year of your child's high school, there's an unweighted GPA calculation showing and a weighted GPA calculation showing, and then there's a cumulative of both. When people ask, well, which GPA is the college looking at? Again, that's a very complicated answer, but basically they're looking more at the weighted because they are considering the rigor of the transcript. And the other big difference here is that the weighted is just really the core subjects. And that's mostly what they're looking at, unless, of course, your child is applying to art school or something specific like that. So if we had to answer, it would be the weighted that they're mostly considering, although it's a very complicated answer. So what does a CHS student's typical schedule look like? Here it is. It's our core subjects, phys ed, lunch. I always consider world language a core subject, but I know it's not actually considered that. But we strongly recommend sticking with that for all 4 years. And then usually there's 1 or 2 periods left for an elective. So we'll just go through each subject really quickly to discuss what the options are. You'll notice that once you're a rising 11th grader, there's some other options for you in English language arts. You're not just selecting academic or honors. If you do select honors once you're in 11th grade and then also in 12th grade, you have many different options, like you have American literature or world literature. When you're senior, you have creative writing. So there's tons of options in the program of studies listed under our English language arts for grades 11 and 12 honors English. So you want to look through all of those, read all the course descriptions to decide what appeals to you. And of course, then there's also the option of AP once you get to 11th and 12th grade in ELA. Here's a list of our honors electives. And again, all the course descriptions are in the program of studies. We just want to point out that all these options are available and you should be reading through these. Your students should be reading through these before they're meeting with the counselor. There's not that much time to sit there like reading a big chunk like this of the program of studies at that meeting. So we do ask that you please read that beforehand and have an idea of some that interest you. And of course, you know, if you're trying to narrow it down, you can discuss that with the counselor, but it would be helpful if you had read some of those course descriptions about the English honors options for grades 11 and 12 beforehand.
And just so you know, I think in the program of studies, it does indicate whether, and I hope, correct me if I'm wrong, if a course was a dual enrollment course this year, and whether it will, you know, whether we expect it to be for next year. The dual enrollment in the program of studies, we have that as a new feature that explains what that means. It's similar to an AP class in that our partners of a college will credit that as a college course if a parent is willing, or a student is willing to, I guess, designate this as a college course. There comes with a cost, of course, but Ms. Balso, I don't know if that's somewhere later in your presentation, but I just wanted to mention that you can find that in the program of studies.
Yep, you'll see across all of our disciplines, some things are indicated as that. And there's also a pretty lengthy description of what dual enrollment means in the program of studies. So, and we're happy to take more questions about that too, if anyone has.
And yes, the program is live. There are just some courses that we have asked the board to approve at our next meeting, but for all intents and purposes, this is a live course catalog that is approved this time. Yes.
Yes, so those courses are noted in the program of studies as pending board approval. So you'll see that some are already approved and some are pending board approval.
Right, because we have new courses.
Right. For math, there is a sequence, there's a math trajectory. So you have to kind of move along and follow the trajectory of algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and then so on. I want to give a huge plug here for our summer math advancement program. Every spring, Mr. Misbahoudin, our STEM supervisor, will send out information about this. But it's a great opportunity to move ahead in the trajectory by taking one of these courses over the summer, so that in September you can then start on the next course. So we highly recommend students eligible for this take advantage of it. Again, he'll send out all the information about this in the spring. I'll put it on our website too when he does send it out. It's a great opportunity to move ahead. And with the course selection process, even if you're planning on doing that, you won't be able to request that next course ahead. So for example, if you wanted to do geometry and summer math advancement to take algebra 2 in the fall, you can't select, it won't let you select algebra 2 for next year at this time, since you haven't yet fulfilled geometry. You would still have to select geometry, and then we would end up changing the schedule late in the summer once the program is completed. So just keep that in mind. We also have a lot of math electives, including 2 new classes. We have a statistics honors course, which will be new next year, and a cybersecurity honors course, which will be new. They're both half year. So that's really fun for our students who are interested in math and want to continue and take some more courses there. I thought that was a really great addition to our offerings. Sorry, I'm seeing some of I minimized the chat, so now actually they're like popping.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll
Okay.
throw some of the chat
Okay,
questions.
thank you.
Some of them are about world languages, so I'll wait till we get there.
Okay.
But I've answered a little bit. There is one question that had to do with GPA. What are the considered core subjects for GPA? I believe our GPA is, all our courses are considered in GPA, right? Except for PE, maybe?
So in the weighted GPA, so it has to be like a weighted course. So it's a course that's either indicated as academic or honors. So obviously if it's honors or AP, it's in the weighted GPA. If it's academic, it's in the weighted GPA. And then we have a couple of electives that are also weighted. So like we have roadmap to computing honors, we have special dance company honors. Those will also go into weighted. But if there's no honors indication on an elective, then it's not part of the weighted GPA. So like phys ed, like Principal Sanchez is saying, and any electives that aren't weighted, don't have that honors, are not part of the weighted GPA.
So I have a great question here about AP statistics, and as a father of a sophomore rising junior, we've had this debate in my house. AP, so my daughter, I mean, if you're, let's say, pre-calculus is, I think, an important class to take, whether it's pre-calculus honors. AP Statistics would probably be in a junior year an elective. Perhaps it's the math course you take your senior year if you want to demonstrate additional math, but maybe you don't want to take calculus. Really, Ms. Ballastone will help you as a counselor, depending on what your major is, what you're thinking. I know my daughter would love to take AP Calculus and not take pre-calculus, and I've advised her against that personally. So I know we might have different opinions, but I think it's really important to demonstrate some furtherance of specific math, regardless of what your major is. But AP Stat, you can double up. I think the question is, can you double up? And AP Stats is yes, can be an elective. Ms.
Yeah,
Ballastone, I
it's
don't know, want to.
it's a popular option for some of our students a little more advanced on that trajectory in that sequence to do pre-calculus and AP statistics together their junior year and then do AP Calc the following year. But then we have some students who aren't as serious on the math track as that and maybe ended up in Calc honors junior year and then didn't know what to continue with. They didn't do AP Calc, they weren't on that track, and then need a math for senior year. So sometimes they'll take AP Stats or computer science as their math senior year if they already got through Calc. So yes, a lot of students double up on pre-calc and AP Stats. That's very popular.
And there's a question, what is the difference between AP Calculus AB versus AP Calculus BC? What we would there is an AP night that was recorded and archived, and we can send you the link on that. However, AP Calculus BC, I mean, I guess Ms. Ballastone, if you want to answer that, AP Calculus AB is kind of like a semester course where in regards to content, not in what we offer, but AP BC is a more, I want to say more rigorous. It's just, it has more content by the end of the year. I don't know how you want to describe it.
It's moving faster, it's going further, and if you score, a decent score on the AP exam, you have a much better chance of that counting as college credit as opposed to AB, which has only gotten through half of the content. So yeah, that was a good description.
There was a question about math over the summer. We don't have the dates yet, but I can tell you it's it's by law, by code. It will be 120 hours. Whether we stretch that over 6 weeks or 5 weeks, it depends on how it will happen. But go ahead, Ms. Ballastone.
Our summer programming usually starts after 4th of July and then goes to 5 or 6 weeks after that. Those are usually the dates, but stay tuned for those. They'll be coming. Science, this is our trajectory. It's pretty simple in terms of the options here for grades 10 and 11. And then it becomes really fun senior year because we have so many cool electives to pick from for that 4th year of science if you decide to take it. We do have a couple of new courses next year in science for electives. We have Intro to Biotechnology, which I think is going to be really interesting for our students. And this year, this was new, biology and pop culture. So they watch Grey's Anatomy and then talk about how biology was in the episode. So it's been a really fun class for students. I think biotechnology is an interest that has definitely been emerging amongst our students. So respond to that with that new class. So I think that'll be fun. There's a ton of options, honors AP, in terms of science.
And this is a great reflection of how we listen, I think, to our parents and our students. Prior to this, all of these electives were senior year, or most of them, nearly all of them. And I think there was a call to have some of these offered junior year. And so we did that this year. It's brand new. So we appreciate the feedback.
And grade 10, in the past 2 years, there was pretty much nothing available in grade 10 as a science elective, and now we have these cool courses. So if this is what your student's interested in, definitely encourage them to go for it. There's plenty of time to do the required electives too. For social studies, it's similar. You have to do US 1 and US 2 in grades 10 and 11. For those of you who have rising 10th graders, AP US History 1 is one of the first opportunities to get into the AP program at Columbia and get that going. So we highly recommend considering that if you're interested in history and doing well in history this year, go for that AP US. It's a 2-year commitment. You would do AP US 1 and then AP US 2 junior year. It would really prepare you for a lot of the awesome APs that we have offered for seniors to take as a social studies elective if they choose to do so. Here's the little rundown now. Of course, this is all detailed in the program of studies. There's full descriptions, explanations of everything. If there's any prerequisites, what grades they're open to, everything like that. But this is just a quick little snapshot so that you can get a picture and start thinking about it.
So
Fun courses.
unlike, science where we can say, hey, you can take environmental science junior year, right? Social studies is different. New Jersey is one of 2 states that requires 2 complete years of US history. So yes, your child has to take world history as a freshman, US history 1, whichever level it may be, sophomore year, and then US History 2. That's just a graduation requirement junior year. It has to happen. Senior year, there is no requirement. However, as Ms. Ballastone said, you might want to take an additional course. Now, some students, as we were talking about before, are math students, so they wanted to double up on pre-calc honors and AP statistics. Maybe your child's a humanities student and would like to take AP, or US History 2 honors or US History 2 and AP, whatever it might be, government, US history, I don't know, art history. I guess that's 11 and 12. Yeah, psychology, AP, things like that. I would recommend AP Gov junior year that I think tailors really, really well with AP or with US History 2, right? It's that time period. And then maybe if you're interested in AP Art, you might want to take that with European history. There's so many options. Unfortunately, just so you know, regardless, world history, US History 1 and US History 2 are graduation requirements. Sorry.
And when you log on to the PowerSchool course registration portal, it kind of spells it out for you in what it allows you to select and what it requires you to select. So like it'll require you to select, the US History 2 if you're a rising 11th grader. It won't require you to also pick an elective, but it's an option if you want to. So it kind of walks you through it and it's set up to make sure that you're requesting the right things. Our world language department has grown to include Chinese, which is really fun. And of course, we've always had Italian, French, and Spanish as the options. So we really do recommend trying to stick with your world language, definitely for 3 years, if not even 4 years. That would be great. The 4-year question, I understand if students always come, I'm not interested in humanities, I'm not interested in world language, I'm a STEM kid, I really would rather take another AP science or math. That's totally understandable, but we just want everyone to consider sticking with their world language for as long as possible. So in terms of the course selection process, we do require that everybody requests at least 5 credits of an elective, so a full year course or 2 half-year courses. And we also require you to request alternate electives, so like second choice if you weren't to get any of those. Totaling another 5 credits. So it's like 5 credits worth of first choice electives and then 5 credits worth of second choice electives. And again, this will be spelled out for you in the course registration portal. When you go through there, it'll require you to pick the backup electives too in its own section. So you'll kind of see that it's all set up there for you. But as you're looking through the program of studies and thinking about what you're interested in, you'll want to be thinking about the 5 credits of first choice and the 5 credits of second choice. Students are always asking, oh, if I put in my course request tonight, is that going to help me get the class as opposed to waiting till March 30th? No, it doesn't work like that. It's not time-stamped like that. When we do run the master schedule, it does go by seniority. So of course, seniors will be dropped, the computer will be dropping them into their chosen electives first. So, for underclassmen, it's really important to be putting those backup options in. Of course, we try to give everyone their first choice. But just in case we are unable to, then we would want to go on to those backup electives that you chose. But if there's a class you really want to take and you're an underclassman and you don't get it next year, we definitely encourage you to continue requesting it because likelihood is you'll definitely be able to take it at some point. But seniors do get dropped into those courses first. So please pick those backup classes.
Sorry, quick question about did we do special dance yet or no?
Nope. So we're moving on to electives now.
All right, and the other question I see here, it's just a question about special dance and gym. But the other question is the requirements for computer science, right? So let's just kind of talk about that for a moment, because this is now something we're expanding to a 3-year program. Students do take roadmap to computer science first, and that can prepare a student right for AP Computer Science A, right? Because in the roadmap for computer science, they learn a language, and that is needed for AP Computer Science A. Now, we also have something called AP Computer Science Principles, that usually you don't really need to really understand a language or to have a real firm control of a computer language. I forget, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Is there a prerequisite for AP Computer Science principles?
Roadmap to computing.
It is still roadmap to computing.
It is, but I think there's just a little statement there in the program of studies under that that indicates that you can contact our STEM supervisor,
Right.
Ms. Bahoudin, if you feel that it can be waived for you because you have some other type of experience with coding, which has happened for some of our students who've taken, coding courses in other ways and are pretty expert in it. He'll waive that requirement. So you would just have to reach out to him.
Right. So that's what I was going to make sure. So students who maybe know Python and are like, oh, do I really need to take that to get into AP Computer Science A? And we can make that determination. And then after that, there's cybersecurity, right? Usually students don't really take AP Computer Science Principles and then AP Computer Science A, correct?
I haven't seen that.
Right, because it's like 2 options in
Yeah.
reality. Yeah. I mean, unless they want to build, but if you're like rock star in computer science, you already know Python, you can skip principles and go right to computer science A. That's what I wanted to just to make sure.
Right.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. So this is our list of visual and performing arts electives. So 5 credits of this is ultimately required for graduation, but it can be fulfilled any year. There's no pressure to do it, sophomore year. But it's just part of that 4-year planning that you want to do is making sure that at some point 5 credits is fulfilled within this visual and performing arts elective category. Principal Sanchez, you mentioned a question about special dance because that's a visual and performing arts.
So there were just questions about there's an audition process. So how do you register with that? And the second part is, does that take place at gym? So those are the PE, I should say. So those are the questions.
So there is an audition process. I assume Ms. Point du Jour sends out the information about that, or Mr. Mano, our visual and performing arts supervisor, will be sending out the information about that. But I think it usually happens in March, the audition process for special dance. It's a really cool program, so I highly recommend taking advantage of that audition process and seeing if you can make it. We do have some dance courses, Dance 1 and Dance 2, which are great intro courses to lead up to that audition. If you're somebody who ultimately wants to be in the dance company, I do recommend for underclassmen requesting Dance 1 and Dance 2. Since you can't put in a request for special dance company, since it's audition only in the course registration portal on PowerSchool, you would have to put in the request for example, Dance 2. And then we would just switch that. If you were accepted into the program, we would automatically switch the request to special dance. Special dance is a 2-period long course. So for one of the periods, you're earning the 5 credits of visual and performing arts elective. For the other period, you're earning option 2 credits for phys ed. So you're earning both, which is great. You don't need to also take phys ed. You're earning that through option 2 for that second period of special dance that you're in, if that answers the question. One of our other categories of elective requirement for graduation is 21st century life and careers. So here's what we have to offer there.
Good, because there was a question about architecture. So that's great.
Yes, that's a 21st century life and career category, not visual and performing arts. So that would also fulfill the 5 credits for this. So another part of the 4-year planning is making sure that you have this. fulfilled by the time you graduate. The last category for elective requirement is financial literacy. We have 2 courses that can fulfill the requirement at CHS, personal finance, and our econ class. Another option that many students take advantage of is this online program that we contract with. It's a free money skill course that fulfills the financial literacy elective. It's self-paced. So a student could finish it in a weekend if they wanted to, or they could pace it out and spend a few months working on it. We have a fall sign up and a spring sign up. Mr. Misbahoudin, again, our STEM supervisor, is the one who sends that information out. So just always make sure you're checking your emails, and our counselors are always reiterating these messages on Remind. So make sure your student is signed up for their counselor's Remind account. They can go onto our website and do that right now if they're not signed up on our Meet the Team page. So just make sure you're paying attention to all those communications. A lot of our students do take advantage of Money Skill. It's a free online class that you can take for the financial literacy program. And there's questions about it being offered over the summer. Yep, that's pretty much our sign up for the fall semester does start over the summer. So you can finish it, in a couple of days over the summer if you wanted to, or you could spend the whole fall semester working on it. It would be due in January. The one caveat here that I just want to point out with the online money skill class is for seniors. If you haven't completed the online money skill class with the fall semester of their senior year for that January deadline, you are required to take the personal finance class in school spring semester. We don't allow seniors to mess around with this spring semester. We did it first and it was extremely stressful for everybody involved. So if rising seniors, you would have to finish the online money skill course by January of your senior year. And if you don't, it's got to be in your schedule for spring semester. So it'll be there anyway, but if you pass the course, it would get dropped. You wouldn't have to take it.
So just to make sure, we have a new marketing class. Would the marketing class fulfill this requirement or no?
No, so that's a 21st century life and career. It's not financial.
21st century, right? It's not financial literacy. We are looking, to see if one day we can add AP economics. It's one of the things that we're looking at. Unfortunately,
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things we hope we can add more teachers to do such a thing. But right now, the state requires 2.5 credits. We have personal finance, and we also offer these economics class and entrepreneurship as well. So thank you, Ms. Balson, for that. Are we doing PE? Did we do PE yet, or I forget?
I don't remember if I have it in here, but if I don't, we will talk about it.
Yeah, just because do you mind if I bring it up now or no?
Sure.
So there are questions about PE and health. So just to make sure everybody understands, a child has to, by state requirement, it's interesting, right, that there's not a state requirement for 4 years of math or 4 years of a world language, but there is a requirement for 4 years of PE and health, right? So it's very clear in the state standards that it's PE and health. So we have freshman health, junior health, senior health, all different curricula, different topics. And then sophomore year, we have driver's ed. So that's how we offer it here at Columbia High School. And then, of course, we have PE. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that a child has to take a year of PE every single year, including and embedded in one of the marking periods will be a health, except for sophomore year, instead of health is driver's education. And what we started this year, and I think we'll continue, we're not sure, we piloted it this year. I hope Ms. Balsone enjoyed it, was that we put it all the same marking period. So all all sophomores had driver's ed the first marking period, right? So that makes sense, so they can get this permit out of the way. Then we had seniors, second marking period, had senior health. Currently now juniors have health, and I believe we complete the year in the fourth marking period with freshmen. So I just wanted to bring that up.
I did enjoy that very much and hope it continues.
Good.
And keep in mind, everybody, that you don't have to put in any type of request for the phys ed health situation. You'll notice when you log on to the course registration portal on PowerSchool that it's automatically in there for you. So is lunch. So those are like mandatory requests that are automatically loaded for you. You won't have to worry about picking those. Okay. So again, just another reminder, you're going to be picking those first choice electives and then also those alternate backup electives. Just want to talk a little bit about the process for requesting a schedule change. It's really important to know this going into next year, that there are opportunities to change your mind and change your schedule, but they only come at certain times during the year, and there are some rules and restrictions around it. Of course, the biggest one is being that it's on an as available basis. If you decide halfway through the year that the honors is going too fast for you, you want to move down to academic, we can only make that move if there's space available. So please keep that in mind. This snapshot is straight out of the program of studies, so you can open it up there to look at it more and make it a little bit bigger and kind of read all of the fine print there. But it's really important to remember that there is a chance to change your mind, but there are restrictions around that. So we may not be able to fulfill your request, though we try our best to, of course. Just a big notice to our rising seniors. It's really important to know that if you have your transcript sent to a college in the fall and then you decide afterwards that you want to change something on your schedule, the student is going to have to notify all of the colleges they apply to of the change. It's really, really important that that happens, or then the school would be making an admission decision on you based on false information and can end up rescinding the decision in the end when they get your final transcript and realize you changed your schedule without telling them. So we try to keep seniors from making schedule changes after transcripts start to go out, but of course that happens all the time. So we just need to make sure that the student understands they're going to have to inform all the colleges of that change. Another really big question is what happens if I change the level of my course in the middle of the year, if I move from, English academic to an English honors. Like, let's say I'm doing great, I'm getting the A, I'm loving it, I want to move on to honors. It's important to know that your old grade from the old class is going to come with you. It'll be reweighted based on the level, so you'll get the appropriate credit for it. But it's important to know that that grade does move with you still, even if you move to a new level in the year.
There's a question that says, before you get to that, I'm sorry. What is the process of fulfilling the 21st century career class requirement with an online class? Now, I would believe the program of studies has a section about online courses, correct?
It does. I think it's on page 9 because I'm asked about it so often. I remember the page. So if you click on the program of studies and scroll down there a few pages, you'll see that there's a section that says like external coursework / online coursework, and it explains the whole process about what you want to do, about what you need to do if you want to take a class outside of Columbia and have it count. It involves getting pre-approval from our department supervisor, and then ultimately sending us the record of the grade.
And I think course is a full year course, right? We don't have course semester classes, do we?
Full year.
Right. So there was a question, can I take course for a semester and then another arts class? And the answer is no, because course is a full year course, but that will, 1 year course, of course, will fulfill your fine arts
Your visual
graduation requirement.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sure. So just a quick note, we do have many students who have some sort of personalized learning plan, let it be through a special services classification or an English language learner. So that can make the course registration process challenging in that you may have some really specific sections of courses that you need as per your specialized plan. Don't worry, just put in the request the best you can. We are going to fully review everybody's personalized learning plan in April after all the requests have been captured and make sure that everything is aligned to what may be in your IEP or in your special plan. So don't worry. I know it can look a little funny at first if you have special courses you need that don't appear on there, but just go ahead, do the best you can, pick the electives you want, and then we're going to be going through and making sure that everything is correct on the back end. So thank you all for doing that. Also, just another note, again, if you want to get into any sort of advanced ensemble where there may be an audition or any kind of other requirement for that, you won't be able to request that in the portal because there's an addition required. So you'll have to request, the baseline course for that. So maybe it's chorus, maybe you want to be in Excelsior Singers, but that's an audition class. So you might just have to select chorus. And then once we get the list for who was accepted into the advanced ensemble, we'll go ahead and automatically adjust those. Another really important note is that you may see in the program of studies, especially in our English department course descriptions, that we have a couple of courses for English that are not literature based per se. For example, one is creative writing. That's not a literature based course. And there may be some universities that don't consider that as one of their requirements for English. So we always remind students that it's their responsibility to know what the admission requirements are for their colleges here. The school counselors do know a lot and they're able to share a lot of information, but there's thousands of colleges out there in the world, and the counselors just can't possibly memorize every single specific requirement for every university. So it's always going to be on the student to verify with the colleges of their interest what exactly they may need to be considered, and then make sure that they're requesting those through Columbia High School. So please keep that in mind too. So I'm gonna, yeah.
I was just gonna say that's something that I in my last district we had American Sign Language as a world language class, and it was surprising that not every college accepted that as a world language class. So we would have a list of the 200 universities and colleges that did accept that. So just so the example might be journalism, right? And some colleges may not accept journalism as a literature-based class. So we have at least put that in the program of studies, so people are aware.
Right. It's very clear in the program of studies. So just make sure you're looking at that because it tells you exactly which courses may not be considered by universities in such a way.
Oh, and you know what's killing me, Miss Ballison? I'm sorry, but my typos, because I'm just trying to type and the chat is like so small I can't see the
I
typos.
know.
I apologize to everyone if something's wrong. So
Thank you for being in the chat because
no
obviously.
problem, no problem. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
I know. And then of course I'm not going to sit here walking you guys through every step of this, but just these slides will be up on the website, and we also have a video tutorial of how to actually enter the course request in PowerSchool. So I'll just kind of quickly click through some of the slides. You'll see when you log into PowerSchool that there's a class registration link over on the left. That's what's going to bring you into the whole portal. Link for the program of studies is there. You'll notice that some mandatory courses are loaded already. It'll be lunch, PE, health, that sort of thing. You won't be able to touch those at all or edit those. And then for each discipline, English, math, etc., there'll be a little pencil that you have to click to edit your options. That's how you enter your options for each one. Like they'll all pop up in a window. You'll be able to scroll through, read about any prerequisites, select what you want. A lot of our disciplines have 2 pages worth of options, so make sure that you're moving on and also looking at the second page. That may be where the class you want is listed. You're going to click OK, and then it'll kind of pop up there, and you'll get a green check mark showing that you did the right thing for that category. You picked something. It looks like you might be eligible for it. Great, you get a green check mark. So you'll have to kind of go through each one, get all of your little green check marks. You can't really do anything wrong here per se, because if you do try to submit this, and you had an error, it's going to stop you, and you'll get this like little alert saying that you missed something or that you did too much or something like that. So it'll tell you exactly what you did wrong, and you can go back and fix it. So you don't have to stress too much about making a mistake. And even if you did for some reason and didn't know, it's nothing that we can't change. So, the point of having this portal is to try to make it easier and more interactive for everyone. It's not to make it more challenging. So no stress associated with this process. You do the best you can. It's been working for all of our students who have been using it so far. It's been going great. We already got a ton of requests in, but you can always just have the counselor help at that one-on-one counselor meeting in March. It's always something that we can change on the back end. No worries. So in the end, you'll submit that, and then what'll pop up on that page from now on is the review of what you submitted. So you'll always, if you forgot what you submitted, you could always kind of go back on under class registration and see what the requests were. One last little thing here is that we will be reminding you towards the end of this process in March, in April, that there is a form that we're asking you to complete in PowerSchool as parents and guardians. It's in the parent portal of PowerSchool under forms. And it's the student course request verification form. Of course, your student can come in and meet with their counselor in March and make their requests. And we hope that they've had that conversation with you and that you're looking on PowerSchool to see what they put in. But we're just asking that you just sign off on this quick form in PowerSchool under forms to say that you saw your student's request, you understand what the requests are. Thank you very much. So it's just a quick little sign off on an e-form on PowerSchool that we'll be asking everyone to do. But we'll send out tons of reminders about that when we get to this part of it. So quickly, our really important things to walk away with are that you can edit and change your request through April 1st. That's the deadline, April 1st. So until then, you can go on and edit as many times as you want. You'll be able to meet with the counselor and change it again. It's all fluid until April 1st. Be mindful of those schedule change policies for the school year next year. Once you start in these courses, what the opportunities will be to change your mind. Don't forget summer math advancement. If you could stand to move ahead on the trajectory at all and kind of get into the next course September that you might not have been eligible for otherwise. And always just remember to challenge yourself. We really hope that all of our students will take at least one AP by the time they graduate CHS. That should be a goal for everybody. And of course, they have their counselor there to help support them along the way and help them kind of move up to that space where everyone feels able to be successful in AP. We have a lot of resources there. So I hope everyone feels confident about making that request. And of course, go Cougars. So that concludes the presentation and all of the information. I know it's a lot and a little bit overwhelming, but again, this is all on our website spelled out like really clearly step by step in the letter with lots of instructions along the way. And we'll have the video posted if you want to watch this back. But I'm happy to take more questions now. I can actually open up the chat and see what's going on. Oh, Principal Sanchez, you're doing so great on here. Thank you. You've answered everybody. Okay. Let's see. All right. If there were any questions that were not answered, feel free to type them in now. We'll wait a couple minutes here. Okay, so do we have?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking like for like 5 minutes, not realizing I was on.
Oh
No, it's
no.
okay. It's okay. I was saying there was a question about that's how it's like at my house. No one listens. If there's a question about an IEP process, so the case manager works in tandem with the counselor in creating that schedule for next year. What's that process like?
Yeah, so that was back to that like personalized learning plan that I was talking about. So if your student has an IEP and they're going to need a really specific class that's not available to everyone and isn't showing up on the course registration portal, no worries. In April, once all the requests are in, the counseling department gets this whole crazy spreadsheet from special services with every single student with an IEP and exactly what sort of section they would need for each discipline. And we go in and we change everything that needs to be changed and we make sure that everything's correct.
Right. So that was one of the questions. And I will say, just as a parent, sometimes it's important to be part of this conversation. Sometimes our children, I have one who doesn't want to talk to me at all about this, and I have one who wants to talk to me about it every single night. So if you can kind of talk about maybe the score scattergram as our students get older, because a lot of the questions were, is this too rigorous? Is this not enough? Is this not rigorous enough? Like, I think some students have an idea of what college they may want to go. So how does SCORE, our third party partner, what's it, SCOIR?
um, I'm like a very tech savvy, but I am so uncomfortable like getting off this and bringing you guys on the internet right now and showing you stuff. So I'm not doing that, but I will explain it.
That's what I'm asking. That's all we're
Okay.
asking.
Okay. I would have loved to have a visual, but sorry. So we do have an amazing college and career readiness online program that we subscribe to called SCORE. We have yet to get our ninth graders on it, so ninth graders, don't worry, it's coming. But everyone else should have an account on there, and if you don't, you can connect with your counselor and they'll get you set up, no problem. And we use it for career exploration in the beginning with our 10th graders, and then we kind of move on to college exploration since most of our students do apply to four-year college. And I think one of the greatest things about SCORE is that it houses all of our admissions data. So all of our students every year who apply, get in, don't get in, we keep track of all that data via SCORE, and you're able to see it in like a graph. So some people call it a scattergram, or just the graph on SCORE. And it kind of like plots you on this GPA and SAT or ACT score graph, on an overlay of all of our data of who has gotten in and who hasn't gotten into the school in the past like 15 years. That's how much data we have. So you're able to kind of see, like, on average, what kind of GPA the school might be looking for a Columbia High School student, which is a lot more accurate than like opening up, a Princeton Review college book and seeing what GPA they're saying in there, because that's just like a random GPA for the whole world that they're throwing out there. It's not taking into consideration what any specific high school's weighting system may be for the GPA and everything like that. So SCORE is allowing you to see very Columbia High School specific data, which is what you want, because they're going to be comparing you and your student to the other kids from Columbia who are applying. They're not comparing them to the kid from rural Indiana who's applying, right? So that's why you always want to go on to SCORE, especially like junior year, as you really start thinking about which schools are in your range, to check out the admissions data on there. So yes, it's very helpful.
Right, and that's the conversation that, I mean, I laugh, and Miss Balisone, I use for free therapy, and I'll say, hey, my daughter wants to take, they offer for her in her school the same thing we offer, an honors or a new statistics class, right? So she's like, can I take that junior year and then AP stats my senior year? And I'm like, no, you need to take pre-calc 1 year. And so we're having this conversation, and that's based, of course, on the colleges that she's looking at, the majors she's looking at. So these are kind of questions that, I'm lucky I have Ms. Balisone or a counselor right here on premises, but you do too, right? You can ask your child's counselor those kind of specific questions.
Yep.
And then, of course, my daughter gets mad because she wants to not take pre-calc, and I have to go back and tell her that over and over again. So, I think those are the things that are kind of stressful in our conversations, and they really differ depending on the major a student wants and the type of college a student wants to go to.
For sure.
There were questions about summer. Like, I guess we only do offer here summer at Columbia math courses for summer, right? Newark Academy is probably the closest summer program that students can take, but that also is so science and math based. There weren't many, as I remember, like taking to be able to move up, if you will, on the guide in humanities classes. So I just wanted to point that out, right? I mean, I don't know of any other program that does that.
Yeah, a lot of our students do use that for sure. A lot of our students do interesting things over the summer in general, and some includes taking courses here or there, even at a college, like a pre-college program where they've gotten that pre-approved by one of our department supervisors and had the credits transfer back. So there's lots of options for that too.
That's true. There is a question, and this is where I was trying to get to with my own example. But if a student is really strong in math and science, took Spanish 1 in 8th grade and Spanish 2 in 9th grade, that does meet the obvious college, the high school requirements, right? For New Jersey, do you still recommend they continue with language as a 10th grade for college? I'm going to say yes, but
Yes,
I think it really depends on the college. But yes, even though it's a STEM related situation, they want to see a rigorous course offering. And so they're going to want to see you continue taking a world language.
for
Right?
sure. They'll recommend, usually most colleges will want to see like at least the 2 years of high school world language in the same language, if not three.
Yeah. There are some colleges, by the way, it's interesting, like NJIT honors coding as a world language. Most colleges do not, but it depends on the type of college. So.
Right. That goes back to the student always wanting to check with their colleges that they might be interested in to see what their requirements are.
Right.
Anything else we might have missed here? You're a great moderator. Thank you. I never would have kept track of this chat.
I don't know. I think we're good.
Okay. All right.
When can we start signing up?
It's open. You can sign up now.
Look at that.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So you can definitely make changes over the summer too. I think those change requests will be due August 15th, but it should be in the program of studies, the exact date.
Yes. And that's, you know, I thank Ms. Balasone, right, that we started to, we're publishing our schedules, I think, right before they leave the building or that weekish.
So it's before you leave the building for rising seniors. It's early July for everyone else.
Right. So we want students to make those changes during before the end of the year, so you don't lose any instructional time in September. That's the key, right? That's what we want to do.
Yeah, it can be a little disruptive to be changing the schedule like that during the year. So ideally, you know, by August 15th, the final changes will have been made. Trying to get the last minute questions answered here. Great. Thank you everybody so much for logging on this evening. Of course, we'll have this posted on the YouTube page. We'll have the slides up on the website, and all the information's already up there anyway in a really easy to digest manner. Please reach out to your school counselor if you have any questions. And if you don't know who your school counselor is, there's also instructions for that on our website. It's on PowerSchool, of course, your school counselor assignment, and then all their contact information is on our website. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. It's like an amazing team we have. I thank them so much for everything they do. It's really awesome to watch them in action, caring and loving your students. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. Thank you, Principal Sanchez, so much for everything you do for us. Yeah.
I'm just, can you put the link for the actual program of studies? Because I think on the website you have to click on something specific. I'm just gonna find it real quick.
I'm scared to come off this. No, I can do it.
Don't leave. No. I got it. Don't worry. I think it's under course selection.
It's under course selection. Yep. And there's buttons. There's buttons right there. That's what.
All right. Don't leave, everybody. Hold on. We got to put the link in. Don't leave yet. I don't remember. I have so many. Thank goodness you can't see my screen. Where is this? Oh, here we
there's
go.
buttons.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You definitely judged by how many tabs I have open. All right. So did it go in?
Yes.
All right. There you go, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for logging on. If you have any questions, just let your counselor know, or you can contact either one of us, of course, and hope you have a great evening and see you all soon. If you have an eighth grader, come on the 22nd for any 8th grade families out there.
Thank you again, Ms. Balson. Have a great counseling week, National Counselor Week.
Thank you.